she was wanting to leave. I'm curious about what's going to happen.
Terrifier 2 wasn't supposed to be this big. No studio backing, no A-list actors, no massive marketing campaign, and yet it became a phenomenon. So how did a tiny low-budget sequel go from niche slasher to viral legend? This is the horror behind the hype. To understand the chaos, you have to go back to where it all started. The first Terrifier, released in 2016, was a small indie horror flick by writer-director Damien Leone. It starred a silent, sadistic killer named Art the Clown, a character Leone had been crafting since his early short films. It wasn't mainstream, it wasn't even widely released, but the underground horror community noticed. Art wasn't your typical slasher, he was theatrical, unpredictable, and disturbingly funny. Leone didn't just create a killer, he created a cult icon. So when Terrifier 2 rolled around, fans expected something bigger. What they got was a full-blown nightmare. Made on a shoestring budget of just $250,000, the film doubled down on everything that made the first one infamous. Extreme gore, practical effects, and absolutely zero concern for boundaries. Then it happened. The movie hit theaters, limited release, barely marketed, and within days, Terrifier 2 was everywhere. Reports started pouring in, audiences fainting, people vomiting, paramedics being called to theaters. Whether those stories were exaggerated or not didn't matter. They became free marketing. TikToks, tweets, and Reddit threads exploded with one question: how bad could it really be? And that curiosity turned into ticket sales. Terrifier 2 wasn't just a movie anymore, it was a challenge. Now let's be real, Terrifier 2 isn't perfect. The story a bit messy, the pacing definitely rough around the edges, but that's not what the film was trying to be. It's chaos by design, a love letter to practical effects in old school horror excess. If you want a deeper breakdown of where it stumbles and where it shines, we actually covered that in detail on our Real Lounge podcast, links down below. The timing couldn't have been better. 2002 was stacked with elevated horror. Smile, Barbarian, Nope, all sleek, clever, and studio polished. Terrifier 2 was the complete opposite. Raw, independent, violent. The fans were starving for that kind of chaos again. Leone didn't rely on algorithms or ad campaigns. He built hype through community. Horror conventions, fan art, podcasts, word of mouth, it spread like an infection. Terrifier 2 became proof that horror doesn't need to be clean to be successful. It just needs to be real. And here's the craziest part. Despite how brutal and niche it is, Terrifier 2 actually scored surprisingly high on Rotten Tomatoes. That is rare for slashers. Critics usually tear these films apart, but even they had to respect the craftsmanship and ambition behind this one. Proof that passion can bleed through even in buckets of gore. And the success didn't stop there. After Terrifier 2 pulled in over $15 million off that small budget, the doors flew open. Terrifier 3 got a major budget boost and an expanded theatrical release. A massive leap for a franchise that started as a backyard horror project. And Damien Leone has already said that Terrifier 4 will be the final chapter for Art the Clown. At least that's the plan, but let's be honest, horror icons never really die, do they? Art the Clown has gone from underground legend to modern day monster royalty seemingly overnight. He's now standing shoulder to shoulder with names like Freddy, Jason, Michael, and Chucky. The difference is Art didn't come from a studio machine, he came from the fans. Maybe the secret to Terrifier 2's success wasn't the blood or the guts or even the shock value. Maybe it's that for the first time in years, horror fans got to experience something that felt dangerous. Terrifier 2 didn't ask for your approval, it demanded your attention, and it got it in blood. This was the horror behind the hype. Hit that like button, check out the podcast for the full Terrifier 2 discussion, and let me know if you think Art's reign really ends with 4. I'm Wes, I'll see you soon.